606J says you can do either or, and you guys did the or. Whether or not you knew you were doing the or, you did, Mr.
I
Kinnear.
don't read it like that.
But Mike, we were here coming on, I don't know if we were on yet or not, and we was talking about, you was talking about this money. And you made a suggestion of putting it in textbook because it drew better interest than it was at the time. But at that time, you could have said, I move that we write that check right then and there back to these entities or whoever, or these
My
taxpayers.
memory
But it
is,
didn't happen
my memory
They sent
is,
75,000 back, that's what they sent out of it.
out of that. And so we're recovering from something that could have took place then,
well, we should have.
but it didn't.
But it didn't.
Even when you knew about it, you knew the money was
Because the
there.
board
And we're learning from it because it didn't.
No.
Changed.
You knew it was there because you
No,
guys gave the 75.
I knew the money was there, I didn't know about the 606J.
Well, you should have.
Over.
Should have.
You should have. That's
It
that's
will-
your,
it
your,
will over
your duty is to know that.
Ten.
But each year y'all have the decision to give it back.
They did.
They did.
The
Okay.
prior board.
That's what I'm trying to understand, what
They
we're
did.
discussing here.
But we're not
But it's
here.
not one person's fault, it's per board did not act on.
No, they did act. They
But they
just acted
did
on
on
one
the
side. 606J says you can do
Either way.
either or, and they
Okay.
did do one of the two things.
And then it's
You
they
didn't
all
say
the judges,
606J.
just the way she.
Didn't say that.
her
And,
opinion.
Every meeting, Mike, we go over the same thing with you,
That's the
every
way,
meeting,
that's
and
the
we
way
got
the
this.
lawyer that's advising us, that's where I get my opinion.
Well, they've heard it 5 times today, so.
16 days of holiday, Christmas, New Year's, whatever.
I don't have the holiday. Well, that'd be part of your salaries, right?
But there's a calculation I thought in the handbook that, for, every so many days worked, you earned so much of PTO. Well, how's that work?
The, like on the 40-hour work week?
Yeah, well, you know, if you work 40 hours, how much PTO?
He wants to know how much PTO you accrue.
Well, all I know is
I don't
it's
agree
16.
so.
It's just 16 hours, per month for each employee.
192 hours per year.
So every month, you
It
accrue,
rolls over,
16.
and you get 16
so that's
hours.
2 days a month. 2 days a month, 24 days a year. So 24 and 16 is 40 days. And there's 52 weeks in the year. And a 4-day work week, when is your time to work? I mean, I'm just,
I can't believe you just said that. You think we don't work?
no, I think you work your ears off.
Okay.
But I'm
Well,
asking-
then Please don't make those kind of comments.
One reason you may be having to do that is
I like how
because,
you're doing this math in front of us.
I appreciate it.
they're not here enough. I mean, if you're here an extra 40 days,
Okay, Mr. Kinnear,
what?
we're getting off subject.
Well, this is.
That's not about the budget.
It's
It is about the budget.
No, he's discussing the PTO policy. He wants to take their PTO.
No.
And that may have to be changed, Mike, I mean,
I'm just trying to understand.
you were probably here when that policy was set.
We do.
We're learning this.
I asked the
And
same
it's,
question.
it's
4
also
years
similar to
ago,
the
What
campus
happened?
policy.
About what's happening now, nothing.
Well,
I have
wait,
not,
wait, you ain't give us a chance to do
Mr.
anything.
Kinnear, there's been lots that have happened in the last 2 years.
if you let me, tell you what, I just wanted to see how this was figured. And that's all that this is
What was
about.
figured?
It's all, 16 days, regular holidays, and then 24 PTO days if you work. So, for a total of 40. That was the only question, no big deal.
The other attorney that everybody keeps referencing, the one that's telling the opposite of what our attorney said, drew up a resolution, the same thing as last year, to ask for they asked for the excess funds to be issued back to the entities in a check form.
Who's the other attorney?
Yeah, who is it?
So they don't want it credited so the taxpayers get benefit of it?
I talked to our
Is that attorney and our attorney need to have a conversation?
So actually, they can't. If they work at the same company, that creates,
They can't talk.
they can't talk to each other because then that creates more problems.
Well, there's 3.
And MBA.
Is what I'm told. Now, I haven't spoken to the other attorney, I'm just going by what I've heard. Because the resolution doesn't have an attorney's name, the resolution is just a resolution that was drawn up.
There's 3 schools that have passed it, asking for the money back. The 2 cities and the school are gonna address it on the 8th. Right, take it to the board of directors or whatever they do.
So I'm sure we'll have it to discuss on our next board meeting, but, this is really, what we did today is going to take care of most of that anyway.
So they do this before the budget's even,
Yeah, I mean, it is, it's kind of, because we were working on it anyway, you know, but it's okay.
I don't have a problem with contingency. The last meeting we were at, a former board member elaborated that there was a need for that. I understand there's a need for it, and very well could be this year especially, okay? I'm aware. But it should be in the budget. It should not be in encumbered funds. It should absolutely be in the budget. Because of the statute and what the law says, when I look at this and I see it under encumbered and I don't see a bill assigned to that, then that makes me think that it's not encumbered. And frankly, it's been there for a couple of years, so it would tell me, in my mind's eye, it wasn't encumbered. Which leads me to also, there's several items on here that are absolutely, in my opinion, questionable. But before we get to that, this money is money that is in fund balance, is that correct already? We have it. There's interest assigned to this money. Interest that doesn't belong to the appraisal district, interest that belongs to the entities. So I want y'all to understand that I'm not here to try to choke out the needs of what y'all have to do. I'm not doing that at all. But what I do think, and I've heard the word transparency, I've heard it, and that's right. And I think that maybe the disconnect here may be that if it's an encumbered fund and you expect to need that fund, it needs to be put into your budget. And it needs to be spent out of your budget. Because when the people who I represent and y'all represent see it here, they say, show me the bill. And when you can't show me the bill, that means it's not encumbered. And when that's the case, you're supposed to give it back. That's my point. So, and also I've been approached about the interest on this money. Where is it? Where's it going?
It's in the unassigned fund balance that we
Okay.
So you haven't given that back, okay?
Yeah.
So we credit it back to the budget, to their allocation payments, before the taxpayers pay it. Does that make sense?
That makes
say
sense.
that again, Lori.
Okay. We take it off their allocations before they actually collect it from the taxpayer.
The unassigned,
The
the
unassigned.
okay. I do agree about the contingency, it should, that's how we did it all in commercial construction, the contingency's on the budget for the owner, and then you give it back to them.
And we appreciate that, and thank you for the explanation, that makes sense, that's a great answer. The next questions, as I move down the list, I think y'all can all look and see. We've got a line item for ARB expenses that we've asked for some more money this year. If you need it, you need it, but it needs to be in the budget, it doesn't need to be an encumber. Same thing with a building development fund, development fund sounds a lot like a savings account to me. Building repairs, all that should be in the budget. If you need it, budget.
So,
Explain to me why it's not.
okay, and I'm gonna just explain how it was explained to me, because remember, I'm learning too. And I agree that the way the budget is done here is different than the way I learned the budget at the hospital, which is different than I learned the budget at the school. They've all three been done differently. But when I asked our attorney about these accounts, and the problem in my mind's eye, is that the words are interchanged. So we use encumbered, the statute uses obligated, and then the attorney used a different word. Was it reserves, or there was 2 words he said we could.
I wasn't with y'all yet.
So, but I asked, does it have to be a project we are actively working on or that we know we are going to work on? And I think that that's where the disconnect comes. It's not a bill. We don't have a bill for the item. It is money that is earmarked to go towards a project, which is 100% what we wanted to look at, because we do feel that there are 2 Because some of these don't need to be here in some of our opinions. We haven't talked about it as a group, so I can't make that call for everybody yet. But I think that's the difference, is he said that it does not have, because if it's in the budget, that means they would be paying and it would be going back and forth every year.
I understand that. However, with it in the budget, what that does is it triggers the unassigned fund balance at the end of the year with the audit. Does that make sense? Because then you have an outside auditor coming in and going, okay, y'all budgeted 1.9, you needed 1.3. You've got $600,000 left over here and we're gonna do your audit just like you do every year, and there's an unassigned fund balance. That's gonna go back to the entities, which y'all have been doing the last 3 years from what I can see, and thank you for that. But that's not why I'm here. We're here for what's on this page. Now, it's my understanding also that when, the building development fund, that has to be approved by the entities, or at least it did. Is that correct?
A project, yes,
So
absolutely.
if the entities haven't approved this, why is that money there?
Because they don't have,
Yeah, they
okay,
do.
so they have to approve the project, but the board itself decided to start saving the money. So when the project is approved, then the money would go towards that project and not be an extra bill on the entities.
But wouldn't you budget for that? Ann?
Didn't they approve the budget?
I'm not telling
They
you.
approved the budget.
I'm just telling you how it happened, like, I don't,
They did.
Okay, let me talk about appraisal world with it, okay? Because we're not the only ones with the building fund. The majority of appraisal districts have a building fund. They have other funds too. They have, legal, there's a whole slew of them. And they use part of those that are unassigned, they get obligated. And for lack of a better term, once they're obligated, that's kind of like spent, even though it's not spent. But then you still have your unassigned, and that's what we give back. So the idea behind it is, for like right now, would y'all not like to have a bigger boardroom? Chairs to sit in and enough for people to really, we need multiple boardrooms. We need them for ARB. We need them for the public. We need rooms for single panels. We need workstations for the employees. But the districts fund it this way so that they don't have to go out and get a loan and then have to pay interest, because then we're asking the taxpayers to pay interest. I know a specific county right now that's having to move, they're having to move, but they're planning to build. I don't want to build. But they did not have enough in their encumbered or obligated, whatever, however you want to call it. So they're using that, and it's way more than what we have. And they're still having to go out for financing.
So let me ask you this, do you have any proposals? Have you talked to anybody to see what the potential cost of this might be?
We have been working on that. You know, you're familiar, we looked at the other building, we got into lead pipes over there, and we didn't want any part of that, so.
But as far as this building is concerned, and you know, I can't speak, but if, we've got the annex over there, if there was a need, you know, for some room, I think that you might be talking, I can't speak for the court, but you could probably talk to the judge and we could probably arrange something for some use over there. That's what's concerning to me, and, I think it's concerning to all the folks, and there's a lot more things here that I would like to look at, but all I'm asking you to do is if you wanna spend the money, put it in the budget. Just put it in the budget. And I would ask, so, speaking to the context of the attorneys, you have an attorney that gave you advice. There's other attorneys that say a completely different thing. They say your attorney's wrong. So who's right, who's wrong? And so we don't wanna split hairs. We just wanna do what's right. And I know y'all do too. So what I'm asking you to do is if you need the money, just put it in the budget.
okay,
That's it.
I guess my thing is that by that logic for the building fund, does that mean you're gonna do that for the attorney, for the litigation fund as well? Like, because I don't agree, I don't think that those all should be in the budget. I feel like that's gonna confuse the budget, because it's gonna look like know that I'm gonna need it that year.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. But you're saying it's encumbered or obligated. So if you have a line item in the budget, and maybe appraisal district budgets are different than county budgets, maybe I don't, and I'm sure, I promise you, I'm not up in it.
It's 100% different than,
But,
but yeah.
but the definition of of what one person says encumbered means and what one person says obligated means. That doesn't change. You can argue about it, it doesn't make a change, okay? So, contingency money, if you need it for legal, because there's a chance you're going to, and I heard it with my own ears. Do I like it? No, but unfortunately, that's the world we live in, and you don't want to leave yourselves exposed.
Well, let me speak to that. because-
Okay.
And I'm basing this on former president of this board,
Yes, sir.
Johnny Dale Graves. He said the minimum we ought to have for litigation is 700,000.
Okay.
That's the minimum. Well, that would take away that contingency item right there and move it to legal representation, because you might not see if we got 7 or 8 pending that could pull the trigger at any minute.
Mhm.
We don't know what that's gonna cost, but based on his experience from the paper mill and the email school, he said 700,000 minimum.
I think that's a responsible number. Of course, I don't know. However,
But let me get
okay,
we talk about saving money. This is from the county treasurer. It looks like everybody is text pooling and saving money.
Mhm.
And if we're gonna zero balance, let's all zero balance.
okay, let's talk about it.
But how do you do that? How do you
Okay, let's.
wipe this away and
But
go
hold on,
zero?
just a minute, Mr. Wilkerson, and I will address that. Feel free to ask me any question you want to. And what you're talking about is money that I have in text class.
Well, not just you.
Okay, all right, and that is, but I want you to go tell me if I'm statutorily obligated to give it back. And here's the thing, before I raise taxes a penny on the people, that will be.
But if it's
And
zero,
there's a lady sitting right there that can tell you that that's the case.
well, and that's great. And,
Okay,
and
so
so
I'm
we're
with
looking
you.
to zero out what we can give
Yeah.
back and every chance give it back.
But Mr. Wilkerson, I'm not asking y'all to zero out anything. I'm not asking you to, but you're saying 700,000. So $1,753,042. Take $753,042. Put it over in a contingency fund in your balance. That still leaves $1 million.
So you said we can do away with all this except those 2 items?
No, sir.
Do away with the reserve for replacements, the posting, all this other encumbered money. I mean, I'm not understanding what you're
Well,
telling me.
you've got a budget though, Mr. Wilkerson. That's what a budget's for.
Exactly.
So I'm saying, you're calling it encumbered money. If you don't have a bill for it, it's not encumbered. If you want to assign something to it, put it in the budget. Let us see it in the budget. That's all I'm asking. And maybe,
I think we're working towards that.
okay, all right.
Aren't we?
But yeah, anytime that y'all want to visit with me about what I got going on over at Precinct 1, feel free. It's an open door over there. I don't have anything to hide.
I mean, it's not just you, I'm talking about the school money that's being, invested in tech school and I guess, that kind of money too. It's sitting there.
Have you seen how much money that's made?
Yeah, it's there to make money.
And it's our fiduciary responsibility to take care of that money for the people. And if the state were paying for the schools, it wouldn't be an issue in the first place.
And that's all it can be spent on.
Exactly.
We can't spend it on anything
Exactly.
else. We
And
can't
all
zero
this
it out.
As a tax, I didn't know it was there for a long time. I didn't know how it got paid back to the school.
And I will say this, it took me a bit to understand this, so I totally understand where you're coming from, because in the school world, if it's encumbered, you already know, you've got a bill coming, you already know the amount, or you've got maybe not an invoice yet, but you've got a purchase order, and you know exactly what the cost is gonna be, and you encumber those funds. That's the way my mind worked too. So it took me a bit to try to get my head wrapped around the word encumbrance used here when that process was not going on at that time. So in the school world, you either have unassigned fund balance, you have contingency. And that's basically where any money you had. But in her case, we can actually go back now, and what we hope to do is go through these. That was our plan.
Well, the thing is that the core rule that governs the county budget is in the tax code.
I understand, I know exactly where it's at.
And that's what I'm glad you do, because
That's right.
shall is not negotiable.
It is to a point, if there is.
Shall is not negotiable.
You and I look at it as what's different there.
Well, I guess our lawmakers do too, because shall means that's what you do.
If the money is going to be spent.
Obligated to be spent is one thing, but when you manipulate that law,
We're
which
not-
is what y'all are doing, the
So-
obligated
so
to be
that's-
spent,
that
and
is-
push
that-
quotation marks
Right
is where
there
y'all are
is
getting at.
exactly why people get mad.
Well, that's exactly why they should be mad.
Okay, we argue too. We pay taxes just like you do.
Well, then, you should be mad about that money sitting there.
I'm not mad because I have an attorney who's told me about it.
Well,
And listen, we did
the
not
AG
do.
has ruled on this a million times too.
Please, let me finish. We did not do this. This money, I've gone back 5 years so far.
Well, you didn't do it, but you ain't returning it either.
We've
Oh,
returned
yeah.
$800,000 so far.
Yes, we have.
This board has absolutely been returning money.
Okay, so what's the problem now with the rest of it?